Good morning. I had this thought that I think a lot of when I'm doing the Facebook Lives, a lot of you guys aren't maybe standing up and doing the stuff with me. So perhaps it's time to show you what you can do while sitting down and on your Zoom or on your computer. There's some simple things you can do to help open you up, have you feel more alive and bright in the face of all this modern temporary age. So, first thing I did for myself is I took the back off my chair. I unscrewed the bolts, took the armrests off, pulled the back off, and gave myself a swivel stool, right? And I realized that a lot, the main thing, if you only take one thing away, most of us, when we're sitting, have a kind of posture like this. You'll see that the hips are tipped backwards here and the head's forward. This has your lower back holding your weight up and your neck holding your weight up. And this, all these muscles pull up here and they can create tension, headaches, and you think it's from staring at a screen, but it might have something to do with jutting your head forward. Hi, welcome. Thanks for showing up. Leave a comment so I know who you are. So the simplest thing you can do is just take the angle of your hips and tip them forwards. And then your hips are underneath the rest of your back. And if you just watch, do that a few times, just watch your spine, or watch my spine, you'll see that the rest of the spine comes in between the hips and the head. So if there's only one thing you take away from this, just let it be to try to find the front of your sit bones. So, and I took the back off my chair, but you can just sit on the front of your chair. Also, if your feet are forward, this is going to tend to have your spine drop back. So another thing you can do is bring your feet back underneath, and that'll help you get your spine more vertical. Then there's this thing about the head coming forward. So if this should do some of it, and it's really fun. We can just stay here for a little bit. If you can find a place, this angle of your hips where your neck feels just a little bit more relaxed. And see if you can feel how your neck's less relaxed here, and then it's most relaxed where. And then we're going to look at the neck more specifically. So we're trying to find things you can do during Zoom calls where you don't want to be too noticeable that you're doing stuff. So with your neck, you can just sort of turn it side to side and just feel. Sometimes it'll be tipped one side or the other. Or before you get on a call, it's really nice just to look up. You'll see that the neck angle is often tipped forwards. So you can, often people will just look their head up to look forward, but it's still the bent forward neck. So a nice trick there is just to look right up at the ceiling. And that gets your neck more in line with the rest of your spine. But this can be a lot to hang your head back. So then the trick here is to tip your head forward without also moving your neck forward. So it's a lengthening of the back of your neck. Right? So let's start from the ground up. Drop the hips back for a second, and tip the hips forward. The neck moves back, and you rest your head on top. Then your skeleton can rest on itself, and the muscles that were holding you out of balance earlier can now relax and let the skeleton do its job. Pretty cool. Next thing you can do, a nice under the table move, is with your hands, right? So first and foremost, again, get your spine in a place where you feel supported. Secondly, you can start doing things to release your hands. So really good move here is to take, I'm going to start with my left hand, palm up. I'm going to take my right hand, I'll zoom in for you. You take your right hand, fingers up, and hold your thumb. And the opposite thumb's going to come underneath. And you can just take your thumb and gently pull down on it. This is going to have you feel this line through your arm. And then you don't want to try to rip your thumb off. No, we like thumbs. You're just kind of giving it a little traction, and then you can pull it out. And all this can be done under the table on a call, right? But I'm doing it above so you can see. So you pull it out, and then you switch to the next one. So it's the same thing. You just, the palm's still up, slip the finger under, take the thumb to create some leverage, and release out. And you don't have to take a lot of time going slow to explain it. Just one at a time, releasing each of your fingers. And then you can even do all four fingers, leave the thumb out of it at the same time. So after doing that, if you just feel your hands, they should feel quite different. You can do that to both sides. Your spine balanced, your neck balanced, going through your fingers. And a little more advanced, you can put your fingertips on your thighs here and slowly reach back. Most people won't get quite that far. Some of you guys, you just have your fingertips on your knees way out here. And this will help clear any carpal tunnel syndrome. I have one of my private clients. He had an elbow injury, and I gave him this to do. He did it for like 2 months. He'd seen like I don't know how many practitioners. Nothing had helped him until this. 30 years. Went to surgeons, acupuncturists, chiropractors, massage therapists, and this is what cured it for him. It no longer bothers him. He doesn't have to do the stretch anymore. So he still does, but you realize even if he doesn't, it still helps. So sitting like this, spine vertical, neck long, hands bent backwards, this can do a world of good. Okay. Next is the legs. So we're sitting here, you can cross an ankle over, right? And a lot of people, when they cross the ankle over at first, it's going to have the spine tip back. So once you get it on, you lift up. This is going to open up your outer hip. You can even give some self massage. So the foot's attached through all these muscles up to your knee. So the calf muscle is one of the major muscles. So you can squeeze your calf and roll your foot around. You can pinch your ankle, you can massage your foot. There's a lot you can do down here to open up your hip and your foot below the screen. Massaging yourself out. This helps clear this out. Let's do the other side. Cross your other ankle, let this knee slowly drop. Again, if the hips are tipped back, this angle, maybe you'll see better from this side. The hips are tipped back, this angle will have the knee up. And if I tip my hips forward, the same angle changes. And you can get some release through your outer hip. You sit up nice and tall. You can hold your calf muscle as you move your foot around, and you can release some of the gripping in your calf there. If you need to type, you can still move your foot. Taking that up another notch, we can sit sideways a little bit and fold. If you don't have the arm on your chair, you can fold the shin back here. This helps stretch out the thigh, open up here. Sit nice and tall. You're gonna hold your hands back behind your back. Because most of us, this posture here, again, all this is tight. All this in here is tight. So you can take your hands behind your back, open up your heart. Again, that gets your spine under your head. Let's do the other leg. If you lean to the side, fold the leg back. Sometimes a lot of these chairs are adjustable. You can, if sitting like that is a struggle for you and you have a block, you might be able to drop the chair down. Where is it? Oh. So you can be lower. I can sit on a block to help get the clearance to have my shin back. So that might be more helpful for some of you less flexible to start people. Right? You can combine these with the arm and wrist work. And yeah, so it's a thigh stretch on each side. The thing I want to offer is once you've done this one, we can do a round two. So you start with your ankle crossed, and some of you might be able to take your foot and hold it up. This is going to help release the knee. And if you bend it more, you can drop your foot into a half lotus here. Some of you. If this hurts your knee, don't do it. If you see your ankle sickling, this is a sickled ankle. This will pull on the outer knee. So if you're going to do a half lotus, please scoot your ankle till it's right on top of your thigh bone so your foot drops to the other side. So this can be done here, and gradually, as this feels good, bring it in a little closer. Some of you can reach your arm around and catch your foot there. So you do the bind behind your back, swivel chair yoga. You release that. Second side. So again, the ankle is across the thigh. It's sometimes for a little more detail, there's this little notch here between your ankle bone and your foot. If you put that notch right on your thigh bone, that can be a little more comfortable. You start bringing that in as your knee releases. Do not rush the knee. If the knee is complaining, it wants you to slow down. As it's happy, you can bring your arm around. If your arm doesn't reach, you can use a strap for this as well. Do not ever force your body into these shapes. That is a big misunderstanding of yoga. Of course, if this is all available to you, if you're able to do both sides, some of you may want to bring both legs up into lotus, but I'm guessing that's beyond the practice for a lot of you. So I'll just leave that as an exercise for those who already know to do it. Okay. So we've got our spinal posture. It's actually really good. I'm just noticing here the height of the seat we're playing with. If your seat's too high, your feet won't really feel supported on the ground, so you can lower down until you feel nice support. It's very good also to, at my desk, I usually use a laptop. You can put, I just have a box under my laptop, just so I'm not looking down at it. It brings it up to this height, and I have a separate keyboard out in front, out of view of the camera, but you get the picture. But having good posture will have you feel good the rest of the day. Another super secret practice you can do is just to simply relax your jaw. So it's harder to relax the jaw again if the head's forward. So when your head over your neck, you can just soften your jaw. Hang it down. And my muse for the jaw relaxation is a snake, because snakes, some of them, I don't know if it's all breeds, but they can actually just sort of dislocate their jaw. They can just unhinge their jaw. So you don't want to go that far in a Zoom conference. You don't want to be like, it'll look weird, but just softening it down, feeling all these muscles release. There's even a simple, subtle practice of just opening your eyes. Because sometimes we'll get bored or we'll be faking something. But if you look at it this way, this is my favorite piece. Is there's ways our eyes feel when we're with people that we don't like or people we do like, right? And then there's all kinds of variations around there. But you can just soften your eyes a little bit. And in a yoga practice, when you're doing postures, I, as a teacher, I'd started to look mostly for people's expressions on their faces. Like, are they enjoying themselves right now? Are they trying to get their body into a thing? Or are they, and you can just see it on their face. So, a photographer once showed me uh, that you can, we'd been sort of faking our smiles for a while, been taking lots of pictures, and he just said, "Hey, tell you what, why don't you guys just scrunch your face up? So everybody just scrunch your face up for a second, because you're not. I'm the only one zooming here, right? You're just like no one else can see you. Just scrunch it up and then relax it. And it just feels this like bright openness right away. So in more of a zoom setting, if you just notice, there can be a subtle kind of contraction that you can release open, and that's quite nice. Yeah, so just and life can feel better. You can even just take a deep breath. Hmm. You can let your breaths out as slowly as you can. It's a good way to de escalate. You soften your breath. You can do inhales for 3 and exhales for 5. And the each of those counts can be as long or short as you want it to be. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can be whatever you want. Just take a deeper breath in and let it out more slowly than that. As you feel your spine. Welcome. So we can also play with our shoulder position. So often our shoulders will come forward, which is a tension across the front. So you can soften them back. You can squeeze them back, soften them forward. Squeeze them forward, soften them back, looking for the neutral. Squeeze them back and soften them forward. You can take them up a little bit to hike up on these muscles. Relax them back down. And you can pull them down towards your hips to grip these muscles under your armpits and relax them up. And we're just looking for that neutral position of your shoulders, the neutral position of the head, the neutral position of the jaw. Getting a little more subtle. Often I notice I carry a little extra when I'm curious or confused, a little, it's like somewhere right in the middle of my head. I can be, I can hold a little tension. It doesn't look quite like that, but I can just release that open from the middle. And it helps to feel from your teeth up through your gums, up into your sinuses. You can sort of do an internal flare of your nostrils to help pull more air through. And all these things can be done while still paying attention to what someone else is saying and doing. Taking care of yourself. So there's sometimes when we're doing things, we'll have more of our attention on the person that we're observing than on ourselves. Or sometimes when we have attention on ourselves, we'll have too much attention on ourselves, not enough on who we're observing. So how do you find that balance of connectedness, being present to yourself and to people you're with, both in Zoom and out in any kind of connection, to not just wipe away our own presence in service of someone else's needs. Your breath. I'll give you another arm thing to play with. So you're maintaining all these various practices. So again, for those of you who just joined, the number one thing is the angle of the hips. And I took my arms and back off the chair so I could have more variety in how I sit. To make sure your hips are vertical, not tipped back. This head is stacked on top. And we did one thing with the arm earlier. Another thing you can do is you can take your right arm, bring it around your back. I'm using my left just to mirror. And you can catch the elbow of the other arm, right? See how that works? 3D. And then I can pull this arm, your left arm, if your right arm's on your back, you can pull it forward to help guide this side back. So it's pulling that back a little bit. And I can look slightly away from it. And this will open up all this line in here. Release that. Should feel nice in here. And second side. So you bend your arm, catch it with your elbow, pull your arm forward to guide your shoulder back. Ooh, nice one. I'm just making this up for you. I've never done this in a chair. Usually just standing. You put your hand on your knee to create the leverage. And with yoga, just to remind you, those who haven't been to my class before, it's never about like tugging, stretching. The metaphor I like is if you have a rubber band with a knot in it, you don't want to like pull on the ends. You're trying to untie the knots. You're using these poses to help you feel where you're tight. And then you meditate and you see if you can get your mind in and untangle the knot. That feels good. And that should make the two-arm version that we did earlier a little bit easier. One more thing about taking your hands back while I'm at it. Sometimes when people take their hands back, there's this temptation to pull the shoulders forward to take the arms back. What I want to suggest here instead is to roll the shoulders back. We're opening across the chest to take the arms back, not just trying to tug at the rotator cuff. And you might be able to see the arm bone starting to push out of the joint here. So when I roll back, this gets the arm bone in the socket. Malleus crino. And we can open across the chest there. Another really nice thing you can do if you don't have an arm on your chair, you can scoot to the side and drop your leg down and swing it. So I'll show you from the front. So I'm sitting on the edge of my chair and dangling one knee down. The top of my foot's on the floor. All this is releasing and weight supported by the other side. I can even notice I'm falling off a chair a little bit. I can hold the chair to help drop that and hang that free. If you really want to, you can grab your foot as well here and release through. That's lovely. The other side. You don't even have to be on Zoom for this. You can do this just while you're doing any work. You can play with how you're sitting and dangle the knee down. Because all this stuff works really hard. So just swinging my knee here to help feel how this connects. And then I can catch my foot. Thanks for playing. And you're not tugging. Your eyes are still open. Body's releasing. And again, most of you, it's really good just to spend some of your day like this. This twist that opens up this whole plane. It probably will help take care of your carpal tunnel again if you're not tugging at anything. Just go to the place where it feels okay and you meditate there. And as you meditate, it opens more. And as you meditate, it opens more. Until you're wide, wide open. So, I want to thank you for joining me here today. I do these Facebook Live classes Mondays and Fridays, 8 to 8:30, usually a lot more standing postures. But I thought I'd give you guys a little what you can secretly do while you're Zooming practice. If you want to know more about how to liberate yourself, please reach out to me in the messages or find me on my website, yogilifecoach.com. I appreciate you showing up. Take great care of yourselves. Namaste.